topic today is on strategy. So the description of the topic is that when we make a business succeed, it is about the strategy behind it. So there are generally two ways. One, that we invent something that works for a company, or something that the competitor is doing, we copy that. So our discussion today will be around imitation or originality, imitation versus originality. So the businesses that you work for, how important is imitation, how important is originality, when what works and when what does not work will be the focus of our conversation today.
If every app has something or your app does not have, you may have thousands of originality, but every customer is not comparing with what you are doing. They are comparing that selecting you versus other apps. So first of all, if every other competitor is doing something, you have to have it. That may not give you market share or growth or innovation, but that is a minimum requirement. So some amount of imitation is minimum requirement. For example, let us take food ordering. Once one of the apps launched group order, the other had to launch a group order. You cannot say कि नहीं उसका group order feature है मेरा नहीं है. You cannot go that because if you are in a mass market, maybe this is true for a B2C mass market, you have to have minimum imitation of making sure all the feature which the customer is demanding is there because customer wants it, not because you are imitating. So that is a minimum requirement. Originality can be used for differentiation, innovation, market share. You can have better. You can have lot more like lot of other things originality can help you with, right? But minimum imitation is required because customer wants it.
I would rephrase this a little bit. I would say what Gagan is mentioning are basic essentials, okay, which every app should be able to offer. I would sort of align the word imitation to being a copycat or copy paste, right? And I don't think you need to be a copy and paste, because if that's the case, then there is nothing inspirational about what you're going to do. There is absolutely no thinking, no value proposition, and you are doing exactly what's run of the mill, what everybody else is doing. So where is the innovation and where is that superiority that we're talking about? So yes, I would agree to the fact that certain feature sets that are available, I would categorize them. I mean, I'm just rephrasing it in the category called basic essentials, which probably all apps will have. But I would certainly do something that's far more inspirational, more unique, a value proposition that I can offer to the client.
And I'll just add more on top of what Uday and Gagan said, that we need to learn from the market, from the competition, from what else is happening. That, in my opinion, is not imitation, that's learning. And that's very important, so that you know what are the table stakes. Because the expectation is going to be set at that level, no matter what. However, how you translate that learning into your own execution is your stuff. And you do not have to exactly replicate what others are doing, and yet you can be very distinctive about your approach. And that's the how part of it. And there are multiple ways by which you can distinguish yourself. And it is not just about, you are selling a product. It's also that what you do after the product is sold. It's also about how do you keep track of the behavior of your customer, or understand their complaints or understand their changes and all of that. So it's a very complex end-to-end piece. It starts with a initial kind of a interaction with your customer or client, but it kind of goes as a lifelong thing if you're doing a job well. So there'll be multiple touch points which will allow you to do things in a slightly different way, in a slightly more intimate way than or slightly better way than what your competition is doing. And that is what requires that thinking and innovation, which Uday said, on the back of whatever you have already learned, right? So it kind of goes hand in hand. It's not about either imitation, or it is not also about new to the world innovation. It lies somewhere in between, that you are learning and you are making yourself a little distinctive or significantly distinctive than your competition in not just the new products, but also the way the existing products are also serviced to your new and existing clients.
I like just one sentence is the term that Sudipta used was intimacy. So neither intimation nor inspirational nor completely innovation, but somewhere Like when the middle point, of all of this, which is the most important, being the intimacy, really knowing what your client or your market.
I
So it's
think
always a blended approach.
yes.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Then I think it's not copying somebody. I will rather prefer to call it as a drawing inspiration. Like I can draw analogy from our Hindi Bollywood movies. Many of our movies actually may be songs, some kind of scenes, fight scenes, or even storyline. They are borrowed from Hollywood. So what they have done, that they have changed the context in the Indian context, so that the audience there, they can connect well, and they have simply copied and nobody noticed. So it is not simple copying, it is not a simple imitating, that it is drawing inspiration from that and rewriting or redoing the things in a proper way, and that is definitely important. But having said that, that is definitely required, but the original innovation that goes without saying that it has a great value, it has to be adopted by each of the organization. And I think creating some kind of need, that is also one of the part, because the business as usual is not going to sustain for a long, because competitors are always there. So you have to be continuously trying to be bringing some product, innovative product, and even if customer is not asking for it, you create demand for that kind of product by launching it and by explaining what are the value addition and what are the benefits there. Like previous discussion, I also mentioned about some of the latent needs which customer may have. So try to experience that, try to deliver those things. I think that will take the organization ahead of the curve.
So it's always a blended approach. I agree with all of them. It's about getting inspired and then bringing in your originality to say how you can make your product unique from others, some differentiating element which can take you ahead. So it's never either or, a combination of.
No, I was just reflecting on my two experiences. One was my large conglomerate, which is Mondelez. So yes, we imitated the playbooks, what they use for the global launches, what they use for the global product recipes. But finally, what it matters is the consumers in India. So we need to be original there. Otherwise, just imitating that playbook and doing it here will be a disaster. So keeping that originality when you are having to link with your customer is very much needed. Maybe imitation will give you a seat at the table, as sir was saying, but you need to be the leader at the table, then maybe you need to have originality. That's one. And I'm also reflecting on my experience with Ola Electric. I was part of the lithium ion factory creation. Yes, many people told you are imitating Tesla's playbook. Yes, we were. In a sort, we were imitating the Tesla playbook. But originality, yes, we need to again reflect it back in India. How do you produce it? The machines, maybe we bought the same machines as what Tesla has done around. Finally, the originality is about how do you get people running those machines? How do you build the capability of the people to run those missions? You need to have your original ideas. You can't be just getting the capabilities from that to here. There you need to have originalities, and how do you create that ecosystem there? So originality is important, and even imitation is important to take you a little far.
I don't know, after such an interesting inputs from everyone, what I have to add. But I think if I'm in a business, the objective of my business will define what I have to do, right? For example, let's take example Starbucks, right? Coffee is there, and if my objective is to get into the business, and if I'm in same market, I think even if I copy them, I doubt I'll be able to grab any market. People will come only to me, either I'm very good to Starbucks or I have to be cheaper, right? If I'm cheaper, I don't know how long I could sustain, because there is a price for originality, right? So if I just want to get into, for example, while he gave very interesting example, but there was nothing in India called EV scooter. You were the first mover. So you brought in something and indigenize it and gave it to the market and improvising on it. So my two take, if I just need to get started, I would find a niche where the leader is not there, get started. But if I really need to make a dent and I want to be in a business, then I would prefer having my own innovative stuff, because that will not only help me grab the market but also command premium. right? Unless until I do that, I will be mass market, and who's going to, I will be out of business. So it all depends on objective of business. If I really want to grow, I really want to be, leader in the category, I need to be original. I need to be path defining organization. Otherwise, why somebody should come to me if there is no price? Like people say, ठीक है सस्ता है ले लेते हैं, right? But it's not same. So the loyalty cannot be bought. I cannot have repeat customers. Then there is no point building a business which I am unable to sustain. So if I need to have sustainable, scalable, long term, I need to have my own innovative product and offerings. Intimation is good to get started, but basics will coffee will always be coffee, right? For example, but look at Blue Tokai, right? People go Blue Tokai because of experience, different blend, different palette, different taste, different way of offering. And Starbucks is all same for last 40, 30, 50 years. I don't know. So unless until I bring in my own signature, I'll not be able to sustain business longer. So for me to be long term player, my objective will define.
So the question I think that you asked is whether the strategy should be inspired or it should be imitated, right? That's the question. So I cannot imagine a strategy being completely, imitated. It's like an oxymoron. How can you have? By definition, I mean, a strategy has to be very unique to every corporation, and that's something which I don't think that many
They can
people
also
would
be
succeed.
segment-based thing. For example, we were targeting FNO traders, right? So what we did is that we built some originality for FNO traders in our app, but we kept the standard stuff for all the other targets audience. Because so you cannot, maybe it's a cost of originality also. So you can innovate for your segment. Let's say there's a segment, 5 segments in the market. There's a segment in auto segment there, a set of customers buy new features, a set of customers buy great service कि after sales service अच्छा होना चाहिए. Now you mean just say कि I will become the best in after sales service, while in features I will remain the same, because for me those customers are my target set जो हमेशा सर्विस ढूंढते हैं आफ्टर बाइंग द कार, लेट अस से, राइट? बट देयर इज अ सेट ऑफ कस्टमर्स हु ऑलवेज बाय कि इस कार में सबसे नए फीचर क्या है. So then you don't focus on everything. You cannot focus on everything. That's very utopian and theoretical. Then it will be too much costly, right? So you say कि no, my new features मैं लाऊंगा, service सबके बराबर रखूंगा. So you can be kind of a mix of both in some ways or the other, because you have to also do a P&L business which works. You cannot always innovate everywhere also, right? So there can be segment-based thinking also. I'm just thinking.
No, you're right.